I'm here in Botswana. We're busy filming our Namibia, Botswana and Zimbabwe tour. We're spending about a month doing that, and we've got the privilege to be joined by the donkey for about 20 days through Bots. Unfortunately, car comes with an owner, so we got to spend 20 odd days with Roland from My Life in Africa. Roland! Hey Roland!
How's it going, Sean?
Hey, lekker man, welcome to the customized show.
Thank you, thank you.
So in this show, basically what we do, I don't know if you've seen them before, but we just go through a gear review on the vehicles. And you know, there are a growing number of Troopies now in the Middle East, and everybody needs ideas, and I think this one is the best kitted one I have seen on YouTube anywhere out there. So as an introduction for Roland, as far as I'm concerned, the best South African content creator out of South Africa, My Life in Africa. Check it in the description. Go and give him a like, a subscribe. He's got some awesome footage. He doesn't mess about. He breaks cars, he breaks stuff. He does it full. It's not just for show. He doesn't make YouTube clips because, you know, you want to get the money out of it. You do it because you enjoy it, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, YouTube was more a need to show people what we can do in Africa, as opposed to let me make a channel to make a channel.
Yeah.
So it was all about, you know, documenting my travels, which is exactly where the name came from. It was very much about my life in Africa.
Yeah.
And then that grew into the brand My Life in Africa, which is now a business. So.
And you're doing tours as well, right?
Yeah, so obviously COVID put pay to a lot of that. The tourism business is starting to come back nicely now. Yeah. But it took a long time. I mean, I've been guiding for 13 years of my life. Yeah. I've been doing this for 13 years of my life. This business as well, again, a mistake business, but you know, everything happens for a reason, and I'm pretty much doing what I love doing. I mean, welcome to my office.
That's it. I love your office.
Thank you. Thank you.
And this spot that we're at right now in Booty is one of my favorite campsites.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite offices.
It's absolutely awesome. Right, let's get into it. Let's talk about the vehicle. So let's start off in the front, right? ARB bumper.
Yeah.
Nothing much to say about them, really.
I can say one thing about them. You know, in Oz they call them rhubars. Here we call them moobars. This has killed a cow.
Okay.
As you see the damage on it, that's the extent of the damage that the ARB bumper allowed the donkey to get. So pretty happy with the ARB bumper, best looking one I think, so that's why he went on. Yep.
See, you've gone with the proper recovery points, because most people don't.
Yeah, you know, the thing that the ARB bumper, certainly for the cruisers and certainly in South Africa, doesn't come with recovery points. It's an additional purchase.
Absolutely.
These are the terrain tamer recovery points. You know, they work. I don't like having to go through things and everything, and these obviously just with the hook makes it a hell of a lot easier to attach your shackles and that sort of thing.
Yeah. See, no front winch. Reason being?
A winch is an added amount of weight that you end up carrying for somebody else. I've never, except once, had an absolute need to use a winch.
Yeah.
Typically you can do everything with recovery gear. So a winch, it's just, like I said, it's that additional amount of weight that I don't want to carry to invariably use it to recover somebody else.
Yes, absolutely. And if you watch his channel, he had predecessor to the donkey called the hippo. Go and have a look what happened to the hippo. Aptly named.
Aptly named the hippo.
Okay, so front side of here, I see you've added some additional spotties to these are ARB, right?
No,
what are these?
MROs.
Oh, MROs.
MROs, yeah. So these little guys are more of a foggy, like for fog lights. They're broaching nearly illegal in terms of their brightness, but it's kind of just under. They really do help. It's a nice spread of light.
Yeah.
Spots, obviously, just to get that, you know, far distance looking.
Yeah, we need as much
light
light as possible. Shouldn't be driving at night, but you do end up in that scenario.
Exactly. Unfortunately, with the way my job works, you know, I'm meeting clients all over the place, and it's not always possible to drive from where I live to the destination that I'm meeting the clients at, or the starting point of their trip, without driving at night. I have to, unfortunately. Absolutely.
The antenna, let's talk about that, because you don't see that in South Africa often.
No, so these are from a company called MTech. They've just started bringing them into South Africa. These have been really hard to get into South Africa, and then to get somebody to program them correctly. MTech's done a great job. This aerial, as far as I'm concerned, has been the best aerial that I've had on here, or antenna. I've had 50k range with buildings, mountains, pickets, that we can talk and hear each other clearly, and that's without any static noise at all. So I'm pretty happy with it. Reason it's on this side is it was initially mounted here, and I swear to God,
because your steering wheel is on the wrong side of the car.
Well, technically it's on the right side of the car.
Technically it's on the right side of the car.
That's the right side.
Exactly, technically, but it's wrong. It's wrong.
But putting this in front of your view, I swear to God, the thing was going to make me. It was going to make me squint. So swapped it to this side. I used to have an aerial here that was purely for height measuring purposes, so I would know if I was going to be able to get under something or into a garage. That thing would ting, and I would know I'm not going to fit. But obviously now I've removed that, and I don't want that in front of my face either. So this will be the only one that I have on here now.
And you don't run the protection. I see you got the eyelids over here, so you don't run the bush. Well, what do they call them? It's a bush protector, really. It's a tree protector for your.
They're called bush cutters.
There we go, bush cutter. Yeah.
I had them on. I found that I spent my entire life tightening them all the time. You know, after a corrugated road, which there's plenty that I drive. I get out every hour or every 2 hours and I have to tighten them. That thing's wobbling constantly.
I've never seen the need for it. I mean, if you can't see a branch, what are you doing in the bush?
Well, there is a need for it. Washing.
It becomes a washing line.
Yeah. It's the perfect kind of washing line.
I might put mine back.
There you go.
All right, so as you can see, it's got the intake over here, but this is a 4.2 litre straight 6 1HZ. It is not the 4.5 litre V8. You don't get them in Southern Africa, right?
No, they don't bring them in at all. The Troopies themselves have actually just started coming back to South Africa, and I'm talking within the last 3 to 4 months. You couldn't get Troopies before. There were Troopies years ago that you could get. I mean, Donkey's the 2011 model. I was lucky to find them at the time because you couldn't buy a new one. But now you can buy a new one, but they don't bring in the V8 still to this day.
So what have you done with the motor then?
Well, reason for the scoop is obviously I've added an aftermarket turbo. It's a low pressure boost turbo. You'll find a lot of people are trying to overtune their 4.2s, and they're boosting beyond 0.4 bar. Anything beyond 0.4 bar, you're going to start melting injectors and all the rest of that. So
not built for that.
I mean, this is a 0.3 boost. It possibly could run a little bit better in terms of the boost, but I'm not a risk taker when it comes to Donkey. I kind of like him. He's my income. So if I break him, there's a problem. But so 0.3 turbo or 0.3 bar boosting turbo. Intercooler lives on top, which is the reason for the scoop.
As far as mileage is concerned, what are you doing fuel consumption wise?
Fuel consumption is a contentious issue with Donkey. He's a bit temperamental with it. So if I drive 100 kilometers an hour on my Garmin,
so let's put it this way. Let's take two scenarios, right? So you drove up from Cape Town to Johannesburg and met us in Bots. And that's where we met up with you and started the trip. So that is pretty constant, long road, 5th gear. What kind of mileage are you getting on that?
So I did a bit of a test for myself because I knew there would be 3 fill-ups on the way. So 400k is odd, 400k is odd, and then I can work out the consumption with different driving scenarios. So with those 3 tests, the first test, I kind of motored Donkey a bit more. I was driving around 130, 135 all the way up. That was to the first fuel stop, and that was 19 liters per 100. Second stop, I did 120 k's an hour for the next 400, and I was getting 16 liters per 100. The next tank, I refused to drive. I stopped looking at the speedo. I refused to drive the RPMs any higher than 2.5. 13 liters per 100.
Well, there you go.
So it's literally all dependent on this guy, the right foot on the accelerator.
And then now when we go off-road, what do you typically see? Because you do these tracks, and these tracks are, a lot of it is 1st gear, 2nd gear, a lot of it is 20 kilometers per hour. The sand is relatively thick, there's a lot of traction, but there is that constant friction. You know, you can feel it on the engine. So what do you normally get on these kind of trips?
I'm around 15, 16.
Well, that's not bad at all.
No, not bad at all. And he's pretty consistent. Thick sand, pretty much any kind of driving, he's consistent. It's 16 liters per 100.
Okay.
And it really doesn't matter the terrain or the sand or any part of that. It just, he's perfectly the same.
Okay, so while we're talking about fuel, tanks in here, standard, or did you...
Standard tanks, the 290 litres.
90, okay,
So 180 litres of fuel. Obviously, depending on the trip, sometimes I carry jerry cans.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we've got quite a long stretch right now.
Yeah, I typically won't carry more than 3 jerry cans. If I do put another one on for fuel, I add one for water just to balance the weight. I put the water in the middle because obviously the diesel's lighter than the water.
Correct.
So at max, I will run 3 jerry cans, and that's only when I do Kalahari crossings.
Next time. We're doing the beauty of Botswana here. I want to do the Kalahari crossing with you the next time, man.
That's a monster trip there.
All right, it's that time of day.
Cheers.
Cheers. It is still a wheat smoothie time.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the inside, because we have spoken about the performance on there, but you've also done a lot more with regards to maintenance and improvements of what Toyota brings out standard.
Yeah.
So run us through that, because I had a look when we changed the fan belt. That number one, the first thing you do see is obviously the turbo kit and the intercooler and all of that, but your radiator.
Yeah. So
Let's run through everything, because I can't see it all.
All
Let's
right, so
should we just start there? Because there's dual battery.
Yes.
We can cover that and then move across.
All right. So sorry, it's so dirty. Trip.
Hey.
It is what it is.
It works.
Yeah, the 100%. So dual battery system, nothing special about that. Running a 105 amp hour lead crystal or gel battery.
Okay.
Everything's been rewired. The wiring's neat. I know where everything is. A little fuse box there, so if something pops, the fuse breaks independently, then the little light comes on and off you go. So yeah, the battery system, nothing special. Only thing I have changed in terms of the battery system is I went from a solenoid to the Victron Syrinx.
Okay.
Reason behind that is obviously I run solar on the roof. If your batteries ever go flat for whatever reason overnight, the last thing you want to do is be stuck without a way to charge your main battery.
Yeah.
So once you've charged your secondary battery, the Victron Syrinx will allow the charge to run through here. That's the only thing that's super important about my battery system.
And we can see.
Yeah.
You're not having to idle your car, and I am.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
All right. What next?
Other changes, the aluminium radiator from Terrain Tamer. It's just an upgraded Toyota part essentially.
Yeah.
Obviously aluminium runs a little bit cooler than the rest, than your normal steel one would.
Yeah.
Obviously more durable than a plastic one, but who would run a plastic alternate or radiator anyway?
Yes.
Other changes, I've got the catch can.
Oh,
on
very
the other
important.
side there.
Yes.
So catch can basically is a pre-diesel filter. It works on it's a 30 micron filter.
Okay.
So it allows the rubbish to get in, so you can actually see it. There's a little thing at the bottom of that you can see. You can
And
actually
who manufactures it?
So it's a company called Flash Lube.
Flash
It is a
Lube,
Terrain Tamer product.
Okay.
It's the lubrication branch,
Okay.
essentially of
And you've got
Terrain Tamer.
well, actually, maybe not a silly question for everybody over there, but obviously Terrain Tamer was never available in South Africa, and now you got they opened up a branch in Cape Town, I think it is.
They've opened up a branch in Cape Town. There's a few distributors around South
Okay.
Africa, but the main branch is in Cape Town, run by Marinus and Nikki.
Yeah.
And yeah, they do a fantastic job. They look after me and Donkey like nobody's business. I'm super happy with the parts. I'm super happy with the service. So yeah, I mean, Terrain Tamer, we've been trying to get our hands on it for a while in South Africa, and it's just one of those things that never came in.
Yeah. And it was just too expensive to import it yourself, and now that they're bringing everything in bulk, I suppose the price is all right. Or what do you see as far as pricing concerned for the consumer?
Well, Terrain Tamer, the pricing, you can go onto their website. That Terrain Tamer will tell you the same. You can buy their products from their website directly, and
Yeah.
it will cost you the same as the listed price on the website.
Oh,
So worldwide, their pricing is the same.
okay.
And yeah, it's just, it obviously then depends on, whether you're getting wholesale or retail.
Yeah.
As a consumer, you're getting retail, but workshops will obviously get prices like a little discounted from that.
So look, I'm looking at Terrain Tamer. Obviously, I need to upgrade my clutch. What have you done with the clutch? Have you upgraded that yet?
Clutch is still standard. I
Okay.
haven't had any issues with the clutch. I know it's about reaching time where it's going to need to be
How many
replaced.
Ks have you got on Donkey?
242.
242 on the original clutch.
242 on the original clutch. Never changed.
Holy moly.
Never had a need to change a clutch. You've been on this trip with me
Yeah.
now. Have you smelt my clutch at all?
No.
Hasn't slipped. Doesn't slip. I think one of the important bits to cover though with the catch can, just going back to the flash
Okay.
loop,
Yeah.
is part of that testing that I did with the fuel consumption up from Cape Town.
Yes.
I didn't use their diesel conditioner purposely for the first 2 tanks,
Okay.
just to mark speed without diesel conditioner and seeing the difference.
Okay.
The last tank that I was getting 13 on, I added the diesel conditioner additive to the fuel. Basically, it replaces all the lubricants and
Yeah, yeah.
everything in the fuel, because we no longer get 500 ppm fuel. It's
Exactly.
50 and 10 here.
Yes.
So, yeah, it just adds that lubricant to the fuel. It's not supposed to work as a fuel saver, but I can tell you 100% that it does work as a fuel saver. I'm gaining
go.
probably 70 to 80 k's.
So what are you
per
putting
tank.
that into every tank?
Yeah.
How much goes in?
So it's basically it's for every 100 liters,
Yeah.
it's 100 mils.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you buy a big bottle and it lasts you.
Yeah, easy
Well,
ratio
depending
to
on the
work
mileage
on.
you're doing, obviously.
I've got a 5 liter bottle in the car and a little squeezy thing. You know, I used to top up 2-stroke on the motorbike.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Got one of those. Squeeze
Beautiful.
it, put 3 of those in, and then I'm good to go.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, other things in here that we've changed is the alternator. Terrain Tamer
Okay.
alternator runs a lot better.
Yes.
The water pump.
So
that
obviously increased. The alternator is slightly bigger as well, so it's pushing out more power, because
Yeah,
the one
it's a
that
lot
comes
more
standard with a 4.2, a diesel alternator doesn't need to push out much power
No, it doesn't.
to run the motor, but we're actually pushing them to the limit, because we are asking them to now charge a second battery.
That's exactly
We're
it.
asking them to push more amperage or more voltage. So other than the alternator, anything else we need to cover over here?
Just the water pump. Put a
Oh.
Terrain Tamer water pump in as well. And yeah, happy with that.
It's so awesome that you guys are getting original. Well, you're getting proper parts, and they're looking after you in South Africa. because
Yeah, 100%.
It's I know how difficult it is to find parts for me in Dubai, because there are no diesel vehicles.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Africa pretty much runs on diesel still,
Yeah.
so you know, it is what it is. We have to make do with what we can get, and now we're getting good stuff.
awesome. Oh, and you've changed. I can see hoses. You've changed hoses.
Oh yeah, the
Those-
hose kit is also all new.
Okay.
Also Terrain Tamer hose kit. The nice thing about Terrain Tamer is you don't buy bits and pieces. You can.
Yeah.
Everything comes as a kit.
Oh wow.
So if you
okay.
buy a Terrain Tamer hose kit, it comes with all the plugs, all the hoses,
Yeah.
all the clamps. It comes as a kit in a bag, and you buy the whole bag.
So all right. So instead of doing one pipe, just do them all.
You just do the whole lot. Same as their bearing kits, their suspension, everything comes as a complete set, a complete kit.
I suppose I'm going to be hearing Terrain Tamer a little bit more as we go through this vehicle.
You
It
are
seems
in-
like you've picked a brand and you're sticking to it.
100%. Terrain Tamer is probably it's the nicest brand to work with.
Yeah.
You know, you go to Toyota, you're going to deal with someone that invariably isn't really a motor specialist. If you're asking him for parts, they
Yeah.
might not know the part number, and it's difficult to get. Whereas you go to people that specialize in
Yes.
this, you're going to be guaranteed to get the correct parts for the correct vehicle at the correct price.
Right, let's move on. Right, let's look at the side of the vehicle. This is just beautiful. I want to start just here. What is this?
All right,
And where can I get one?
The name is there. It's pretty obvious where it comes from. It's a company called All In 4x4 based in Cape Town. A guy by the name of Richard. Yeah, stainless steel, 75 mils. He does make bigger, he does make smaller. He's just fitted a Jimny now. Hiluxes, cruisers, Pickett. His dad's actually got a V8 cruiser, and with a bunch of modifications, he's running 100. And that thing, oh, it sounds like a beast. Look, this doesn't give a lot more power or anything like that. You don't hear it on a 4.2, but what I am guaranteed is no dust is going in when I'm driving behind.
That's what this was the first thing that I saw when I saw Donkey come in, was the snorkel is facing the right way.
Yeah.
And especially where I live, if it's dusty, drive it.
Exactly.
It's a lot of dust and we have a lot of wind.
Yeah.
And if you're following another vehicle,
Yeah, your air
it's
filter is just by the end of a 50k stretch in someone's dust. You know,
and it
it's
looks
terrible.
pretty. The Safari, I mean, if I look at the Safari snorkel that's on the truck that we've got, man, it's ugly.
Well, it looks exactly like that, doesn't it? It looks like a snorkel. This looks like it was placed here for beauty.
It is. I wonder if I speak to him, I wonder if he can do something for our Ram. But I want one on mine. I'll definitely get one from him for mine. I'll see if he can do one for the,
Look,
for the new Ram.
it is a big cut to mount the snorkel. So obviously you're cutting the side fender from there to there, because if you had the whole round piece out,
Oh no, it would look
kind
horrendous.
of look funny. So it's a big cut, but it's not pleasant to watch. I recommend not being there if you ever do one on yours. But it definitely is worth the end result in terms of the looks. And it does sound nice in the 4.2, but you don't really hear it a lot. You hear it under sort of low speed, high rev driving.
Yes.
When you're changing gears, it's got that that kind of suck in. But other than that, it looks really good. I'm quite happy with it.
Well, it's one kit. You
Yeah.
know, once again, so if you do dump it in the water, you are, well, I wouldn't say 100% safe with anything, but you're safer.
Yeah, I mean, you know, having drowned a vehicle, I know snorkel, water, it's for the same reason they don't call your windscreen goggles, because they're not. They're not actually designed for water. It's a clean air intake, clean, cool air intake.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, as far as this is working, it's working well. I'm very happy with it. And yeah, like I said, it looks good too.
All right, so let's go and talk about what keeps you on the road, right? So what brand is this?
This is General Grabber. This is their mud terrain version. This is the X3s.
Okay.
So I'm running 235 85 16s. I went for the 235. I wanted a slightly skinnier profile, just doing with the amount of mileage I do. Running 33s or 35s or anything like that, it kind of donkey eats fuel already.
Yes.
And I add bigger tires, I start eating more fuel.
Yep.
I don't really find that in my application, it might be different to yours, that a fat tire is required for dune driving and sand driving. I prefer a skinnier tire. Yeah, and these have been good to me. These have got 80,000 Ks on so far, and they still look new.
Wow, 80,000. That's incredible.
Yeah. Look,
Okay,
I do rotate.
You stuck with the standard Toyota.
Yeah,
rims?
the Toyota rims. I like the Toyota rims. I'm not a rim bling fan.
Yeah.
I don't like shiny things on my car. I mean,
You'll see with mine. You know mine. Basically, I did the same. Powder coat them, and they're beautiful.
Yeah, like even the valve caps. That's too much bling for me. But it's a tire sensor, so you know. Oh yes, I have tire sensors in there. So the TPMS.
Okay.
It's quite important in my application, because you can be driving along a track. Somebody may have been stuck there, a piece of Mapani in the road.
Yes.
You don't see it go straight through the tire, to know immediately that you had a puncture.
Yeah.
And also the temperature.
Does it give temperature as well? Yes,
Yeah,
that's
it gets
important,
really
because
hot.
TPS, tire pressure management system, without temperature, pointless.
Yeah, it's a pointless exercise.
Pointless. And then, okay, terrain tamer.
Yes, there's more. Yes, there's more.
So 2-inch lift.
Yeah, 2-inch lift. Terrain tamer don't do any higher than a 2-inch lift.
Yep.
They're a firm believer of, if you lift anything beyond 2 inches, you then start causing problems elsewhere.
Yeah.
CVs, all the rest of that. Also with their 2-inch lift, again, their suspension kit comes complete.
Yeah.
So it's all the bushes, the coils, the suspension, caster correction, which 99.9% of companies in South Africa, I don't know if it's different over there,
No, they don't.
they do not do caster correction.
Yep.
And it's probably one of the most valuable points of changing your suspension is to do the caster correction.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, you want that angle of your prop shaft to be exact. You don't want it to be slightly off. So caster correction, but terrain tamer suspension, it's their smart coils.
Yeah.
So it's a lot thinner in terms of the actual coil itself, and the gaps between each coil are quite big.
Okay.
So the idea behind the smart coil is it goes to work before the shock has to.
Yes. Yes.
So obviously you keep your shocks oil cooler, and yeah, they work wonders for me. I'm extremely happy with that setup. The one thing that I'm going to change soon, brakes. Terrain tamer. Terrain tamer.
Okay,
brakes.
let's guess. It's terrain tamer.
Yes.
Okay. So that is probably one of the first upgrades you do when you buy any 70 series is brakes.
Well, 70 series religiously do not come with a hand.
Well, there is no handbrake. It's Toyota.
Yeah, I mean, you
Toyota
can pull it up
does
at
not.
120 and there's
Yes.
nothing there.
No.
So the nice thing about the terrain tamer ones, and the reason I went with them is, again, for my application, I do tours year long or year round.
Yes.
So basically I'm driving dry seasons, I'm driving wet seasons, I'm driving the worst of the worst and the best of the best all in one year.
Yes.
So with the terrain tamer brakes, the brake system themselves was developed by terrain tamer for the mines.
Okay.
So you can go with an application of mines using OEM brakes, lasting them 6 days, 6 to 10 days, 10 days being a really good braking system.
Yeah.
These are lasting the mine 6 months. So it's
And the mileage they do there is horrendous.
more the gunk that gets into them, and
Yeah,
that just
true
tears
that.
them apart. And these are, yeah, I mean, the funny thing about these brakes is the dirtier they get, the sharper and more responsive they become.
Okay.
So dirtier, hotter, more
Yeah.
responsive.
Okay.
Cooler, they're still great. I mean, this gave me if I had to put it in percentage wise, I'd say 30 to 40% more braking capacity on this vehicle.
Sure.
Now you add it on dirty, dusty, muddy roads,
Yeah.
and to have that perform even better when it's dirty,
Yeah.
it only makes sense.
Oh well, must try them. I
You-
haven't tried the Terrain Tamer brakes yet. I must give them a
They will
bash.
blow your mind.
Yeah.
Very, very good product. Very happy with that.
Well, if you're saying dust, dirt,
I mean, I can do
that's where we live.
wet salt pan tours.
Yeah.
Salt pans are notorious eaters of
Oh
brakes.
yes. Oh, that black mud is just.
I'm 2 in,
Yeah.
and my brakes are perfect. Handbrake, 3 clicks, and I'm
And
done.
you're still running drums on the back, right?
Yep, still drums.
Okay, so it's drums.
Can you guess?
Yeah, it's obviously Terrain Tamer because
Yes.
you told me it comes as a kit.
Yes. Well, most of the stuff you can
Yeah.
buy the discs and the
obviously
pads
discs and
independently
pads.
from the drums and shoes, but I am running the Terrain Tamer drums in the rear. Also perfect for their lift.
Yeah.
They do the brake proportioning valve as part of the kit
Okay.
when you replace the drums, because everybody always lifts.
Yeah.
Then your car's sitting weird. The brake proportional valve just allows the car to know that there's weight in the back. Use the back brakes as well. Don't just do the front.
Right, let's go to the top here. We did talk about lights, but we missed the light bar. So that's just an essential piece of kit. If you're in Africa, you have to see on the side of the road. I mean, that
Yeah,
is
100%.
And that is company
MRO again.
MR, same as the spotties in the
Same
front.
as the spotties. So
Okay.
the MRO lights, or that light bar is a curved light bar.
Yeah.
So it's got quite a huge spread left and right,
Mm-hmm.
and a very much a directional spread forward.
Yeah.
I don't use it on the road ever, unless there's a truck or something that's flashing me that won't turn off his.
Yeah.
Then, I call them my courtesy lights.
Yeah, yeah.
It teaches courtesy very quickly.
Gives him a suntan in the back of his neck.
Exactly.
All right, this is the oddest roof rack I have ever seen in my life. I can see that it's a front runner roof rack, but I've never seen one like this.
So you're wrong
talk to
in
me
it
about
being
that.
a front runner roof rack.
Oh,
It's an African outback roof rack.
no way.
Yes.
Looks identical to front runner.
Front runners are a lot thicker.
Okay.
So this was a full roof rack,
Ah,
and in order to accommodate the rooftop tent, I didn't want to lose the ability to carry jerry cans. So basically what I did is I cut that roof rack big enough for a jerry can, and I left it just like that, and it seems to be working so far. I'm happy with it. Yeah, I mean, it's a roof rack. What do you need a roof rack for other than to dump jerry cans and wood?
exactly.
So that's that, and to carry the light bar really.
All right, cool. Then, I suppose to save weight, you then, instead of running the full roof rack, you've now just gone with the bars across for your tent, right?
Yeah, so there's just the mounting bars and the feet. Because the Troopy's roof's a little bit curved, you notice there's two
Yes.
here.
Okay.
So we had to raise it just ever so slightly. That's why there's two, just to get that across the roof perfectly. Otherwise the rooftop tent would have been touching the roof.
I bet the wifey loves this.
She does. We use this thing all the time.
Yeah.
Look, often the places where I go,
Yeah.
you don't even need a shower cubicle to shower, but
Yeah.
it's more when you go to the beach and you want to change into
Yeah.
a wetsuit or something, you can pop this out.
And you've gone
showering-
for the hard case.
Yeah, I've got the hard case.
Well, you can already see amount of bush and everything that it's ripped apart. So
Yeah, he
It's-
gets used, he gets abused.
yeah, I know it's an essential piece of kit. Every car should have a shower cubicle of some sort.
Yeah, 100%.
Your brand is your choice, and off you go. But
Look, I'm
just-
extremely happy with the Quick Pitch one. It's
Yeah.
super quick to set up. It's quite light. I think this whole thing weighs about 6 or 7 kilograms. It's an extremely light setup. The bag is perfect. Everything, I enjoy it. I use it a lot. I mean, it's to shower, so it's the
No,
perfect
exactly.
bit of kit for that.
Exactly. So driving behind you, I think together we have done probably about 1,500, maybe 2,000 kilometers so far.
Give or take.
Pretty much. We're pretty much halfway through our trip.
Yeah.
And your leaf springs look very different to anybody else's.
Yeah. So again, Terrain Tamer.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm running their parabolic leaf spring system.
Okay.
I was running EFS previous to that. The EFS leaf spring pack
Yes.
was 9 leaves.
Yeah.
This is only 4. This is the 700 constants.
Yeah.
And yeah, so basically the leaves work independently from each other.
Yeah.
And the main leaf at the bottom being completely independent from all the others. It's not clamped into the leaf pack.
It's giving you that feel of an independent suspension.
Correct. Correct. I mean, it's super comfortable. Corrugations, it's really comfortable.
So you recommend?
I love the suspension,
Yeah.
hands down. The parabolics have been the most comfortable. I run my tires quite often as a test just to see with everyone else.
Yeah.
I run my tires at 3.2 bar on corrugated road.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you shouldn't, but
Yeah.
I do it
But
just for testing. And
so many
it's
people
perfectly
just don't
comfortable.
deflate. They think, oh,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
go.
essentially, I
That's
wouldn't have to deflate, but
Yeah.
I do more for an environmental impact
Yeah,
as
yes,
opposed
of
to
course.
doing it for comfort, because these provide that comfort already.
yeah.
I absolutely love them, hands down. One of the best, or the best suspension I've actually driven to date on the donkey.
Oh, well, there we go. There's a good recommendation. Because finding a suspension for a 70 series is kind of difficult, and finding something that is comfortable is also difficult. And that's everybody's choice to their own, right?
Yeah, look, I mean, I've run a bunch. I'm not going to name, knock, and
Yeah.
all the rest of that. I've run a bunch of suspensions on here.
Yeah.
Next to this, I was happiest with EFS.
Yeah.
There's another brand I used it for a week, took it off immediately, sent it back, didn't want it. There was one other, the standard one it came with, obviously
Yes.
standard.
Yeah.
I drove it when I got it, I took it off almost immediately and replaced it.
Yeah, well, as soon as you put a loaf of bread in the back, it becomes useless.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. So yeah, happy with the suspension. It's amazing to drive. The proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
Like you saw in Vic Falls, that
Yeah.
guy came and asked me,
Oh yes, of course.
what's the
Yeah.
parabolics like?
Hey,
I literally just
He
gave
just
him my keys.
basically gave him the keys and says, didn't know this guy from a bar of soap. He says, take my keys, off you go. And the guy goes for a drive. He's gone for like 10 minutes. I'm like,
Oh, you can't
he's
explain
a
it.
very special man.
I'll drink to that.
Right.
Gull
Finding gull wings for a Troopy was incredibly difficult, because I know, unless you went and custom made them, but I see this is actually a company. It's branded. So who? Bush Tech.
Bush Tech, yeah. So Bush Tech are in Johannesburg, Fourway
Yeah.
specifically.
Yeah.
These were custom made.
Okay.
When I put the gull wings on the Troopy, gull wings weren't available in South Africa, so
Yeah.
Robbie and Darren actually sat and laser cut them, and it took them some time, obviously,
Yeah.
because the Troopy's back window isn't square.
Yes.
It's kind of a rectangle with an arb
Yeah.
backside, so they custom made them for me, and I'm extremely happy with them. They work.
And do they now have they cookie cutted that and sell them off the shelf? Can you get them off
I
the
haven't
shelf?
seen
for
them
other...
selling any others, but I know they've developed a new one. So they actually asked me to come in and put another one on. I know they, with the Troopy market being
Yeah.
coming back to South Africa,
Makes sense to have that available.
they're going to start stocking them and selling them again, or
So-
just manufacturing them.
Okay, so probably if you have a Troopy, then contact them, because there it is, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I know they're incredibly difficult to find. So with us in the United Arab Emirates, we go and we make them, custom make them, or order from Australia.
Well, there's a couple of companies now that are doing them,
Oh.
but then there's a.
Look behind you there. That is the saddle ball.
It looks like it. Yeah, saddleball.
Okay, slight interruption. We
Yeah.
are in the wild.
Yeah,
We could have elephants. We had a hyena running through here this morning.
and elephants, and
elephant,
hippo,
and hippo. Oh, we're so close
and
to the
leopard
water.
tracks on the road.
Yes. So if one of us get eaten by a lion or something like that, it'll be good viewing. This clip will probably hit 1 million views in 20 seconds.
Yeah, it'll probably be you that gets eaten, because I'm a firm believer of the last person will get eaten. So the first thing I do if I see something like that running at me, I'm
I'll
kicking you in the knee.
All right. Okay. So we haven't discussed the running board. It's a standard running board that comes with it.
I have
and
no
it-
need for rock sliders. I
there's
don't
no
do
need.
that kind of driving.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. Depends on the terrain, and it just
it
adds
would
extra
make
weight.
it ideal if the Troopies came out with a full length one, but
Yeah, only for working on the roof, really, because
Yeah.
you don't need it to get in and out of the car.
No.
But I suppose it'd be nice for a step here if you had to put gold, and you're going to be putting gold into here.
we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Not sure yet.
Okay. All right. Let's move to the back of the car.